Welcome back to Who Died Today USA channel. In the past few days, we have received somber news about the passing of extraordinary talents. Today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. Additionally, we will recap the stars we have recently lost. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Thank you. You may not know his name at first glance, but you've certainly felt his work on screen, in a line of dialogue that lingered, in a performance that struck a chord, or in the quiet power of a scene that stayed with you. James Foley was the man behind those moments. And now, as we look back, we find a life's work that speaks louder than fame ever could. James Foley, the gifted filmmaker whose vision shaped some of the most compelling stories in modern cinema and television, has passed away at the age of 71, following a long and private journey with brain cancer. A Brooklyn native, Foley carved his path from the streets of New York to the heart of Hollywood, bringing a quiet intensity and emotional depth to every project he touched. He first turned heads in the 1980s with the raw power of At Close Range, starring Sean Penn and Christopher Walken, followed by a striking collaboration with Madonna on music videos that became cultural milestones. But it was Glengarry Glen Ross that cemented his place in film history, a searing drama led by Al Pacino and Jack Lemmon, capturing the fierce rhythms of David Mamet's dialogue with precision and grace. Foley's career was marked not by one genre, but by his refusal to be boxed into any. From thrillers like Fear and Confidence to television triumphs like House of Cards and Billions, he followed his instincts, often choosing the path less traveled. In the final stretch of his film work, he stepped into the global spotlight once again with the 50 Shades sequels, drawn to the psychological complexities of human connection. Through highs and lows, Foley remained a deeply hands-on artist, empathetic with actors, meticulous with story, and always in pursuit of truth on screen. Though his health quietly challenged him in recent years, his passion never wavered. James Foley didn't just direct stories, he lived them, shaped them, and left behind a body of work that will speak to generations. In his light, the camera never stopped searching for what was real.
Order society respect their deepest concerns.
He was the son of an Italian railway worker, born in Buenos Aires, who went on to carry the hopes of over 1 billion faithful. Pope Francis, known to many simply as the People's Pope, passed peacefully on Easter Monday, April 21, 2025, at the age of 88. The cause was a cerebral stroke, following a long period of frail health. From the moment he stepped onto the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica in 2013, Jorge Mario Bergoglio broke with convention. He chose the name Francis after the humble saint from Assisi and lived simply, refusing the ornate papal apartments and opting instead for modest quarters at Casa Santa Marta. His leadership was marked by gestures both grand and quiet, embracing the sick, washing the feet of prisoners, and speaking for those on the margins. Throughout his papacy, Pope Francis called for a church that listens more than it speaks. He championed causes of peace, compassion, and justice, urging the world to care for the poor, the immigrant, and the planet we share. He brought warmth to the papacy, often smiling, waving, and reminding all of us that God never tires of forgiving. Even as his health declined in his later years, his spirit never faltered. Just a day before his passing, he delivered an Easter blessing from the balcony, his voice gentler, but his message as strong as ever: unity, love, and peace. And then the white smoke rose once more. After the conclave, another long shot became Pope. Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost of Chicago was elected, an American Pope, something once thought unthinkable. He checked all the boxes, Vatican observers said. In choosing the name Leo XIV, he stepped forward not just as a leader, but as a symbol of unity across continents and cultures. Breaking news. Today, we explore the remarkable journey of an icon whose voice, style, and fierce independence have shaped the world of entertainment for over 6 decades. From chart-topping hits to Oscar-winning performances, Cher has defied expectations, broken barriers, and reinvented herself time and again. But behind the glitter and glory lies a story of resilience, personal loss, and health battles that shaped the woman admired by millions. How much do you admire Cher's legacy? Share your thoughts in the comments as we honor one of the most transformative figures in show business history. Cher, born Sherilyn Sarkeesian in 1946, rose from humble beginnings in El Centro, California, to become a pop culture phenomenon. Her story began in the 1960s when she captivated audiences alongside Sonny Bono in the duo Sonny and Cher. Their breakout hit, I Got You Babe, made them household names and led to their successful television variety show. But it was clear even then that Cher had a voice and vision that could stand on its own. As the decades unfolded, Cher reinvented herself multiple times, each reinvention more daring and impactful than the last. In music, she conquered every era with hits like Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves, If I Could Turn Back Time, and the revolutionary Believe, which introduced auto-tune to mainstream pop. Her impact extended far beyond the charts. She became a fashion trailblazer, known for dramatic, unforgettable looks that challenged Hollywood norms. In film, Cher proved her range with powerful roles in acclaimed movies such as Silkwood, Mask, and Moonstruck, the latter earning her the Academy Award for Best Actress. Her performances combined strength and vulnerability, drawing audiences into stories that mirrored her own resilience. But Cher's path to stardom was not without adversity. She battled a learning disability, dyslexia, that made school extremely difficult. Often misunderstood, she was told she was not smart enough to succeed. Contracts and scripts were initially daunting, but Cher persisted, relying on her instincts and determination to navigate the industry. Her honesty about her struggle with reading inspired countless fans facing similar challenges. In the early 1990s, Cher faced one of her most significant health challenges when she contracted the Epstein-Barr virus, which led to chronic fatigue syndrome. At one point, she was so physically depleted that she was forced to step away from work for nearly 2 years. She endured a period of isolation and uncertainty, describing it as a time when she felt completely powerless. But through rest, reflection, and the unwavering support of her loved ones, Cher returned stronger, re-energized, and more committed than ever to her craft. In recent years, Cher has continued to stun audiences with her tireless energy. In 2023, she released her first-ever Christmas album, after more than 60 years in the business. The album, dedicated to her late mother Georgia Holt, featured duets with Stevie Wonder and Cyndi Lauper. Cher's emotional tribute to her mother underscored the deep connection they shared and reminded fans of the real person behind the persona. Her performances remain captivating. In 2025, at the age of 78, she appeared at the Love Rocks NYC benefit dressed as Elvis Presley, belting out classics like Walking in Memphis and Believe. The performance was not only a showstopper, but also raised millions for charity. It was a moment that once again confirmed her enduring power to move and inspire. Cher has never been one to shy away from controversy. Over the years, she has made headlines for her outspoken political views, particularly her criticism of former President Donald Trump. Her passionate and sometimes provocative posts on social media have sparked both admiration and backlash. Additionally, her highly publicized relationship with music producer Alexander Edwards, nearly 4 decades her junior, drew mixed reactions from fans and media. challenging conventional ideas of age and love. Her family life, too, has seen challenges. When her child Chaz Bono publicly came out as transgender, Cher initially struggled with acceptance. She later became one of Chaz's fiercest advocates, speaking openly about her journey toward understanding and embracing her child's identity. In doing so, she became a powerful ally for the LGBTQ community and a model for unconditional love. Cher's legacy is one of fearless evolution. She has conquered the music charts, won film's highest honor, redefined celebrity fashion, and shattered stereotypes about age and femininity. More than a performer, she is a survivor, a woman who turned every challenge into a chapter of triumph. Even now, as she approaches 80, Cher shows no signs of slowing down. She has hinted that her next album may be her last, yet she continues to seek creative fulfillment and connect with audiences across generations. Her presence remains bold, her spirit unbreakable, and her message clear: never let others define your limits. As we celebrate Cher's extraordinary journey, we are reminded of the power of reinvention, the strength it takes to rise after setbacks, and the beauty of embracing every phase of life. What is your favorite Cher moment? Let us know in the comments, and do not forget to like and subscribe for more tributes to the icons who shaped our world. Thank you for joining us in honoring the unstoppable force that is Cher.
Been somebody who's walked through that door before anybody else has.
You only live 20.
Quincy Jones was never just part of the music, he was the reason it moved. For over 70 years, his name quietly appeared in liner notes, credits, and award stages, but his influence resounded in every corner of American sound. From jazz to pop, from television screens to the silver screen, he connected cultures, generations, and genres with unmatched grace. On November 3, 2024, Quincy's remarkable life came to a close at 91, surrounded by family at his home in Bel Air. The cause, as confirmed by his publicist, was pancreatic cancer. But even in his final chapter, he remained a beacon, steady, soulful, and full of rhythm. He began with a trumpet in his hand and a hunger in his heart, a child of the South Side of Chicago who taught himself the language of music because it was the only one that truly spoke to him. Mentored by greats like Clark Terry, inspired by friendships with Ray Charles, and shaped by his time in Paris and Harlem, Quincy crafted his own sound, a sound that helped launch Thriller, that echoed through We Are the World, and that uplifted voices from Ella Fitzgerald to Frank Sinatra. He survived great trials, the weight of expectations, personal losses, and a life-threatening aneurysm. Yet through it all, he returned, always with something new to say. His legacy isn't just in the awards, though there were many. It's in the way he made the world listen and feel. Quincy Jones didn't just create music. He scored the soundtrack of an era and of the soul.
The broomstick was fantastic.
The Mod Squad would feature 3 counterculture 20-somethings working as
Michael Cole was more than just a face on the television screen. He was a symbol of a changing time in America. Born July 3, 1940, in Madison, Wisconsin, he brought to life the role of Pete Cochran on The Mod Squad, a groundbreaking series that ran from 1968 to 1973. With his piercing gaze and quiet intensity, Cole became the voice of a generation searching for justice, truth, and identity. The Mod Squad wasn't just entertainment. It was a cultural statement. The show tackled real-world issues like racism, addiction, and generational divides, and Cole's performance helped make those conversations feel honest. In an era that didn't often give second chances, he portrayed a character who, like himself, knew what it meant to fall and to rise. Off-screen, Michael's story was equally powerful. He faced a difficult youth, early struggles with addiction, and moments of deep personal trial. But through it all, he found strength in the love of his family, the redemptive journey of recovery, and the joy of storytelling. His 2018 memoir, I Played the White Guy, offered a candid and courageous look at a life lived in both shadow and spotlight. On December 10, 2024, Michael Cole passed peacefully at the age of 84, surrounded by loved ones. Though the cause was not disclosed, his later years were marked by restored health and a renewed sense of purpose. He leaves behind a legacy of compassion, resilience, and a reminder that even the most troubled paths can lead to light. For those who watched him grow on screen and in life, Michael Cole will always be remembered, not just as an actor, but as a survivor who chose to share his truth.
Till the breath tears my throat, till the pain hits my side.
Mike Peters was never one to stand still. As the driving force behind the Welsh rock band The Alarm, he gave voice to a generation with soaring anthems like 68 Guns and Strength. His music carried both the pulse of rebellion and the call for unity, songs that lit up radio waves in the 1980s and still echo in the hearts of fans today. Born in Prestatyn, Wales in 1959, Mike came of age in the shadows of punk's raw energy, but he shaped that spirit into something uniquely his own: powerful melodies with purpose. Whether opening for U2 or joining Bob Dylan on stage, he brought passion to every performance. His band's lyrics explored struggle and perseverance, themes that mirrored his own life in ways few could imagine. In 1995, Mike was diagnosed with a form of blood cancer. Over the next 3 decades, he faced multiple battles with different illnesses, most recently, an aggressive condition known as Richter's syndrome. Yet through it all, he kept making music. Even during treatment, he often carried his guitar into the hospital, always ready when inspiration struck. Together with his wife, Jules, he co-founded Love, Hope, Strength, a charity that inspired hundreds of thousands to register as stem cell donors. From concerts on mountain peaks to quiet hospital rooms, he made music a form of hope. Mike passed in early May 2025 at the age of 66. His legacy lives on, not only in the records he made or the stages he graced, but in the courage he showed, the lives he touched, and the love he left behind.
You can say scene, jumbo jet flies over volcano explodes, jumbo jet crashes.
Nigel McCrae was not just a writer, he was a storyteller of justice, humanity, and remembrance. Born in 1953, he first served as a police officer in Nottinghamshire, where his experiences on the force would later shape some of the most beloved British dramas of our time. In 1996, Nigel created Silent Witness, a forensic crime series that gave audiences a new kind of hero, a pathologist unearthing truth from silence. Nearly 30 years later, the show remains a cornerstone of British television, inspiring generations of viewers and writers alike. He followed this success with New Tricks, a witty, heartfelt series about retired detectives solving old crimes, a reminder that age brings wisdom, and the past always matters. Nigel's talents extended far beyond the screen. He was a published author of both fiction and nonfiction, often chronicling the lives of soldiers and athletes lost to the world wars. His book, The Vanished Battalion, became the basis for the poignant film All the King's Men, starring David Jason and Maggie Smith. In late 2024, Nigel publicly shared that he had been diagnosed with a terminal illness. It was, in his words, a personal shock, but he met it with honesty and quiet courage. He passed in early February 2025 at the age of 71. Though the exact illness was not disclosed, his legacy speaks for itself. Through his words, characters, and unwavering belief in truth, he gave voice to the voiceless. Nigel McCrae leaves behind not just stories, but a sense of purpose, and for many, the comforting feeling that justice, no matter how long delayed, still matters. David Thomas was never easy to define, and he liked it that way. As the fearless voice behind Pere Ubu, he spent nearly 5 decades making music that defied labels, rewrote rules, and inspired generations of musicians who dared to be different. Born in Miami in 1953 and raised in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, David came of age in the shadow of steel mills and industrial noise. Those sounds didn't just influence him. They became the blueprint for what he called avant-garage, a raw, unfiltered form of rock that was more about emotion and experimentation than polish or popularity. In 1975, he co-founded Pere Ubu, a band that would go on to shape post-punk and underground rock for decades. Their debut album, The Modern Dance, set the tone. Jagged, confrontational, brilliant. With a voice that could shift from a whisper to a wail, David led his band through over 19 studio albums, always exploring, always pushing. But David was more than a musician. He was a writer, a theater collaborator, a music historian, and an unapologetic original. Even as health challenges mounted in later years, including a long illness that led to his passing on April 23, 2025, he never stopped working. At the time of his departure, he was recording a new album, completing an autobiography, and overseeing the release of archival live shows. He left this world with music playing, MC5, loud and alive in the background. And like his work, that exit was bold, uncompromising, and entirely his own. David Thomas didn't just challenge what music could sound like, he challenged what it could mean. And in doing so, he gave us all permission to be a little more fearless. Barry Goldberg was born on Christmas Day, 1941, in Chicago, and it's fitting that his life became a gift to the world of music. A pianist shaped by the soul of the South Side blues scene, Goldberg went from sneaking into clubs to play alongside legends like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf, to standing shoulder to shoulder with Bob Dylan during one of music's most pivotal moments, the 1965 Newport Folk Festival. That night, as Dylan plugged in his guitar and reshaped the future of folk and rock, Goldberg was at the keyboard, lending power and soul to a sound that would echo for generations. For Goldberg, it was the beginning of a long, remarkable journey, from heartbreak and rejection backstage to feeling like a hero under the stage lights. Over a career that spanned 6 decades, Goldberg played with the greats: Leonard Cohen, Rod Stewart, Gladys Knight, the Ramones, Stephen Stills. He co-founded the Electric Flag, recorded with the Rides, and co-wrote unforgettable songs like I've Got to Use My Imagination. His 1974 solo album remains the only record ever produced by Dylan. Even as he battled non-Hodgkin lymphoma in his later years, Goldberg continued to play, to produce, and to pass on the stories of the blues. He was a bridge between eras, carrying the past forward with every note. On January 22, 2025, Barry Goldberg passed away at the age of 83, surrounded by family. But his music, and the history he helped create, continues to play on. A bluesman to the end, Barry Goldberg never stopped chasing the rhythm of something greater. And in doing so, he became timeless. James Baker was born to rock, and for over 5 decades he did just that. With his signature bowl cut and a backbeat as steady as a heartbeat, the Perth-born drummer became the driving force behind some of Australia's most influential rock bands, including the Hoodoo Gurus, Beasts of Bourbon, and the Scientists. James began his journey in the gritty punk scene of the 1970s, later helping define the raw garage rock sound that swept across the Southern Hemisphere. He wasn't flashy behind the kit, but his drumming had soul, style, and a rhythmic honesty that made the music breathe. His work shaped iconic albums like Stone Age Romeo's and the Axeman's Jazz, and in recent years, he returned to the stage with old friends and new projects, including his 2024 solo release, Born to Rock, released on his 70th birthday. More than just a musician, James was a mentor, a friend, and a gentle soul. Fellow artists called him a sweetheart, a legend, and a one-of-a-kind man who made time for everyone. Even during a years-long battle with cancer, a fight he faced with quiet courage, he remained committed to his craft and to the joy of rock and roll. James Baker passed peacefully at home on May 5, 2025, at age 71. He is survived by his wife Catherine and daughters Lorna and Faye. Though the curtain has closed on his remarkable life, the beat he left behind still echoes in the records he made, the lives he touched, and the stages he helped set on fire. Robert John, born Robert John Pedrick Jr., on January 3, 1946, in Brooklyn, New York, was an American singer-songwriter renowned for his smooth falsetto and heartfelt ballads. His musical journey began remarkably early. At just 12 years old, he charted with White Bucks and Saddle Shoes under the name Bobby Pedrick Jr. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, John navigated the evolving music landscape, achieving moderate success with tracks like If You Don't Want My Love and a notable rendition of The Lion Sleeps Tonight, which reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1972. Despite these achievements, John's career faced challenges. Record labels often hesitated to fully back his projects, leading him to step away from the spotlight and work in construction. However, his passion for music endured. In 1979, collaborating with producer George Tobin, John released Sad Eyes, a poignant ballad that resonated deeply with audiences, climbing to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and earning him a Grammy nomination for Best Pop Vocal Performance, Male. In his later years, John faced health challenges, notably recovering from a severe stroke suffered several years prior. He passed away on February 24, 2025, at the age of 79. Robert John's legacy is one of resilience and melodic brilliance. His contributions to the soft rock and pop genres continue to evoke emotion and nostalgia, ensuring his place in the annals of American music history. Priscilla Pointer was a radiant figure in American theater, film, and television whose presence brought grace and intelligence to every role she embraced. Born in New York City on May 18, 1924, into a family of artists, her lifelong journey in the arts was rooted in passion, family, and a belief in storytelling as a force for connection and reflection. Priscilla began her acting career on stage, touring in iconic productions like A Streetcar Named Desire and The Country Wife. Alongside her first husband, Jules Irving, she co-founded the San Francisco Actors Workshop, a groundbreaking theater committed to artistry over fame. The couple raised their children in a creative environment, often placing them in the front row while rehearsals played out on stage. In film and television, Priscilla came into broader view in the 1970s and 80s. Her performances in Carrie, Blue Velvet, and the long-running drama Dallas showcased her range and quiet strength. In Carrie, she played the mother of her real-life daughter, Amy Irving, beginning a series of on-screen collaborations between mother and daughter that spanned decades. On Dallas, she won hearts as Rebecca Wentworth, a character etched in the memories of fans across generations. Priscilla passed away peacefully in her sleep on April 28, 2025, at the age of 100, from natural causes in Ridgefield, Connecticut. Her children, including Amy and David Irving, remember her not only as a remarkable actress, but as a mother, mentor, and soul deeply devoted to her craft. She leaves behind a legacy steeped in theatrical tradition, a lifetime of performances that stirred emotions and the enduring love of family. Priscilla Pointer was not only born to perform, she was born to inspire. Wings Hauser was a dynamic American actor born in Hollywood on December 12, 1947. With a presence as fierce as it was unforgettable, he became a fixture on screens big and small for nearly 6 decades. He began his career in the late 1960s and quickly became known for his raw, intense performances that lit up cult classics like Vice Squad, Tough Guys Don't Dance, and A Soldier's Story. Perhaps best remembered by many for his role as Greg Foster on The Young and the Restless, Wings brought complexity and charisma to every character he portrayed. Beyond the soap operas, he appeared in countless television hits, from Murder, She Wrote, and Roseanne to Criminal Minds and Beverly Hills 90210, earning respect for his range and depth. Behind the tough guy exterior was a man of resilience. Wings faced years of health challenges, including a long battle with chronic obstructive pulmonary issues. Yet, he continued to act, direct, and create, never letting his condition define his passion. Wings passed peacefully at home in Santa Monica on March 15, 2025, surrounded by love. His wife, Callie Lily Hauser, shared that he was working on a documentary about his life. Working-class actor, a tribute to the grit and heart he poured into his craft. He is survived by his wife, his children Bright and Cole Hauser, now beloved for his role in Yellowstone, his grandchildren, and legions of fans who will never forget the fire he brought to every scene. Wings Hauser lived for the art, and in every frame, his spirit still soars. Kirk Metis was a shining light in the world of reality television, a beloved friend, a vibrant spirit, and an unforgettable presence who touched the hearts of many. Best known for his role in MTV's Floribama Shore, Kirk joined the cast from the very first season in 2017. Over the show's 4-season run, viewers came to know him as the glue of the group, a voice of reason, a source of laughter, and a man whose kindness radiated beyond the screen. Born with a natural gift for connection, Kirk brought people together. Whether through his humor, his strength, or his unwavering loyalty to his friends, he showed us what it meant to love deeply and live authentically. Even after the cameras stopped rolling, he remained grounded, continuing to engage his fans with warmth and gratitude. In April 2025, Kirk faced a profound health challenge, a severe case of necrotizing pancreatitis, which led to complications involving sepsis and liver failure. After weeks in intensive care, surrounded by love, his journey came to a peaceful close on May 2nd, at just 33 years old. Throughout it all, the outpouring of support from his castmates and fans spoke volumes. They rallied around him, shared memories, and celebrated the soul who brought so much joy into their lives. Kirk Metis may have started as a reality star, but he became something far more meaningful, a reminder that kindness, laughter, and connection are the most lasting legacies of all.
I remember. I'm Joanna Staten.
Breaking news. Goldie Hawn, from Hollywood darling to mental health trailblazer, what keeps her glowing at 78? Goldie Hawn, the effervescent icon of stage and screen, has charmed audiences for more than half a century with her sparkling eyes, infectious laugh, and irrepressible spirit. But behind the sunshine smile lies a story of deep introspection, personal struggle, and reinvention. As she nears 80, Hawn continues to inspire millions with her enduring grace, mental health advocacy, and a life lived unapologetically on her own terms. How do you feel about Goldie Hawn's lasting impact? On a scale from 0 to 10, how much has she inspired you? Let us know in the comments. Born on November 21, 1945 in Washington, D.C., Goldie began her career as a ballet dancer before stumbling into acting almost by accident. She first gained national attention in the late 1960s on the sketch comedy show Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, where her bubbly personality and comic timing made her an instant favorite. Audiences fell in love with the young woman who could deliver a joke with perfect timing while dancing in a bikini covered in body paint. But she proved she was more than just laughs when she won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in 1970 for her role in Cactus Flower. Throughout the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, Hawn built a cinematic legacy with roles in Private Benjamin, Overboard, The First Wives Club, and The Banger Sisters. She often portrayed women who were underestimated, only to rise above with strength, wit, and authenticity. Her performance in Private Benjamin, which she also produced, earned her another Oscar nomination and showed Hollywood that a woman could lead, produce, and command box office success. Hawn's comedic touch was never lighthearted fluff. Her characters carried emotional depth and resilience. However, as Goldie would later reveal, fame came with a price. Behind the scenes, she battled anxiety, panic attacks, and periods of depression, particularly in her 20s, when sudden stardom felt more like a burden than a blessing. "I was depressed," she once said. "I was scared. I wanted to go home." While millions saw her smile on screen, she was struggling internally with questions of identity, self-worth, and emotional exhaustion. This emotional struggle, rather than breaking her, ultimately shaped much of her life's mission. Rather than retreat, Hawn leaned into healing. She spent nearly a decade in therapy and began a journey of self-discovery that would later evolve into one of her greatest contributions to society. In 2003, she founded the Goldie Hawn Foundation and its signature program, Mind Up, a neuroscience-based curriculum that teaches mindfulness, emotional regulation, and resilience to children across the globe. Her goal was to equip young minds with the tools to navigate stress and pressure with strength and clarity. Today, Mind Up has reached schools in over a dozen countries, transforming the way educators and students view mental health. Even as she shifted her focus to advocacy, Hawn remained a force in entertainment. She teamed up with longtime partner Kurt Russell, with whom she has shared a relationship for over 40 years without marrying, in heartwarming films like the Christmas Chronicles series, where their off-screen chemistry translated into on-screen magic. Their union, built on mutual respect, independence, and shared joy, has become one of Hollywood's most admired partnerships. Goldie has often said that choosing not to marry has allowed their relationship to remain rooted in freedom, rather than obligation. Hawn's health journey did not end with emotional healing. In recent years, she revealed she was facing age-related challenges, including cataracts that have impaired her vision, a vulnerability she candidly acknowledged during the 2025 Academy Awards. "It is getting harder to read the prompter," she joked on stage, offering a moment of honesty that endeared her even more to fans. Her willingness to talk about aging openly and with humor has been part of her charm and strength. Despite these challenges, Goldie remains as radiant and active as ever. In 2024, she collaborated with 3 of her grandchildren on a new animated project called Brain Buddies, extending her mission to educate children on mental health. The project was born out of countless conversations with her family about the growing pressure children face in the modern world. With this endeavor, she combines family legacy with educational outreach, ensuring her work resonates with new generations. Of course, no long career is without its points of contention. Some questioned her decision to never marry Kurt Russell despite decades together. Others criticized her spiritual and psychological philosophies as too idealistic or not rooted enough in scientific consensus. Still, Hawn never let the chatter define her. "I know who I am," she has often said, choosing instead to lead with example. She has also largely avoided political controversy, focusing instead on what unites people: love, compassion, and mental well-being. Goldie's image as a Hollywood darling never faded, but it evolved. In her interviews, public appearances, and writings, she continues to emphasize the importance of gratitude, daily meditation, and staying connected with joy. She has written 2 books, both blending memoir with practical advice for emotional balance. In them, she shares lessons learned from decades in show business and the inner work she has done to maintain her emotional resilience. In a media landscape often saturated with fleeting trends and artificial glamour, Goldie Hawn remains a beacon of light, rooted in sincerity and service. Her legacy is not only cinematic, but also deeply humanitarian. She reminds us that success is not just measured in awards or box office numbers, but in the lives we touch and the meaning we find in helping others. As we reflect on the life and journey of Goldie Hawn, we see more than a film star. We see a teacher, a fighter, a partner, and a mother who chose to grow through struggle rather than surrender to it. Her story invites us all to live more mindfully, love more openly, and laugh without apology. What are your favorite Goldie Hawn memories? Share them with us below and celebrate a woman who turned vulnerability into strength and fame into purpose. If this story touched you, like and subscribe for more heartfelt journeys through the lives of Hollywood's most inspiring figures.